So rules of engagement quickly, and these are important. So we talked about how to build a socialized enterprise. In my opinion, if we're going to be highly social and effective, we need to follow these rules. Now, you can break them, but just know the repercussions. Okay, I'm not a big one on following the rules all the time, but these will keep you safe. So number one, stop pitching and start connecting. We talked about that earlier. Me connecting with you on LinkedIn does not give you permission to blast me on a regular basis. Realize that permission to connect is golden, and that very few people will give it to you. So once you get it, honor it. Really honor it. Number two, doers win in the game of social media. One of the things we do at Socialized is when we start off a client, we don't just launch in and say, okay, let's get you going. We do an in-depth social media assessment. It usually takes Dave McDonald a couple days to do it as a bare minimum. They get an 18-page report when it's done, a full half-day debrief, and we walk through the whole process with them. And one of the funny things is before we start, they usually say stuff like, well, we're using social media, but it hasn't worked. And we'll go in and we'll see their Twitter account, and it says, hello, world. Anybody here? And they've got like 3 followers and a little egg on it. And then we go in, or a variation of that. And then we go into their blog, and they've done 3 blog posts, 3 months spaced out in between each of them. And they said social media didn't work. Well, the reality is, the reason why is they didn't get in the game. Is that it's not like you get a phone line and advertise it and give it out to people and decide to stop answering it after 3 months. And the reality is that social media is a channel for communications you opened up, and you have to continue to do and be present in that channel for it to really work. Think back to trust. People want to trust that you're going to be there on a consistent basis. It's not about you. Boy, that's a hard one for me. That was so tough. Because, man, when I first started blogging in 2002 and podcasting in 2004, and I think that the first couple of years of blogging were really about me, and the only person that visited my blog was my mom. And it was great. She had great comments and everything, and we interacted a fair bit. It was an awesome platform, but it didn't get me any business. And it wasn't until I started listening from a thought leadership perspective to where it hurt for my clients and started creating content that was of value to them that I got any type of traction. Be fearless in your contribution to community. So if everybody in your marketplace, I don't know, let's say you have info products is what you sell online, and everybody in your marketplace gives away 2-minute teasers and then makes people buy the 10-minute piece. My suggestion is give away 20-minute segments. Give more than your competitors think is practical, and connect more than they think is necessary. So if someone comments on your blog or tweets you a thank you, don't put it on your little scorecard as a marketer to give off to your team to show the level of engagement we got. That's an opportunity to reply, connect, deepen the relationship, take it offline. Okay? And so really, really look at the opportunity is from an engagement and a contribution perspective to do more, share more, and connect more than your competitors. Number 5, don't be a social spammer. Social spam is different than what we would call typical spam, where I get Kathy's email address because I pulled it off her website. I just keep hammering her with emails. That's one type of spam. Another type of spam is where you've got 200 contacts in your database, and this particular blog post you have is really only relevant to a quarter of them based upon their market and where they're at, but you send it to all 200. Okay, so 125 or so get an irrelevant content. They're not interested in it. You send enough irrelevant content and stuff that isn't in the right context, and it goes into a folder people never read. Okay, Facebook's another way. You get someone, they build a Facebook page, they run a contest, they got 1,000 fans, and then they just start hammering out the marketing. And they think they're hammering out marketing to 1,000 people, but what's happened is 990 have hit the mute button. And they're actually just talking to themselves on Facebook now. And so realize that permission to connect also comes with the necessity and the commitment to be relevant. Number 6 is be authentic because you don't have a choice. That's a tough one. So if you don't want a picture of you with a lampshade on your head, the latest Christmas party on the internet, stop putting lampshades on your head. Pretty simple strategy, because everybody's afraid of Big Brother, but I'm kind of afraid of you guys. Because you've all got cameras, you've all got video recorders on your phone, and you can publish it to the net instantly if I do something embarrassing, entertaining, or absurd. Especially if it's embarrassing, entertaining, and absurd, it's going to go on the internet immediately. And this goes for corporations, though, too. Let's take it to the corporate level. This is the one that you attract what you are, not what you want. You attract what you are, not what you want. So what occurs is, from a branding perspective, if you're from an HR perspective, you're telling the world on LinkedIn and you're branding and you're communicating online how fantastic you guys are to work for, and then you treat this person like crap when they start off working for you. or you onboard them improperly, or you don't keep your commitments as an employer, guess what? It ends up on the web. And they don't write a little letter to some ombudsman somewhere in regards to the employment standards. They're going to tell their 1,000 friends. And so the reality is we don't have a choice as corporations. That goes for customers too, of course. We have to be authentic. We don't have to be perfect, but we have to be authentic. We have to walk our talk. And lastly, and this was the biggest challenge for me in most cases, is be consistent. So the core rule of engagement is consistent application. Jay Levinson, my co-author from Guerrilla Social Media Marketing, he said this like 2 decades ago, and it's a great saying. And what he said was, mediocre done consistently will beat brilliant once every time. If we don't have to blog every single day, we don't have to hit it with massive power, but you know what? If we do it a couple times a week and we keep it doing it consistently, and we don't have to spell everything right or be perfect or totally on message every time, but we do it on an ongoing basis, it's a lot more powerful than that one brilliant post you write.